The little girl clutched her drawing tightly, her wide eyes scanning the elegant dining room. Her father placed a comforting hand on her shoulder as they approached the beautifully set table marked "Reserved." But before they could sit, a sharply dressed woman in a red dress stepped in front of them. "This table's reserved. Can't you read?" she sneered, her voice loud enough to turn heads. The man didn't flinch. He looked at his daughter, then back at the woman with calm in his eyes. "Yes," he replied. "I reserved it. I own this place." What happened next stunned everyone in the room. Hi there, welcome to Kindness Lights, where real stories remind us of the power of compassion, empathy, and standing up for what's right. If you enjoy heartwarming tales that restore your faith in humanity, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment to let us know what kindness means to you. Now, let's dive into today's story, and trust me, you'll want to stay until the end. Thomas Reynolds wasn't someone you'd expect to own a 5-star restaurant. He didn't wear designer suits or drive luxury cars. He didn't care about flashy watches or champagne brunches. What he cared about was one thing: his daughter, Lily. After losing his wife to cancer 3 years ago, Thomas had poured everything he had into raising Lily. The grief had been overwhelming, but his love for her was stronger. He worked late nights, took on extra shifts, and saved every penny to make sure she could have a bright, stable future. And this restaurant? It wasn't just a business. It was the dream his wife and he had once shared. They used to talk about it on quiet evenings. "A place where no one feels less than," she'd said. "Where kindness is served as generously as the food." After her passing, Thomas kept that dream alive. He started small, washing dishes, waiting tables, learning the business from the ground up. Eventually, with the help of some supportive friends and a lot of sleepless nights, he became the silent owner of one of the city's most prestigious restaurants, Linden and Oak. But Thomas never told anyone. He wanted to be among the people. Most evenings, you'd find him dressed simply, often mistaken for a patron or a handyman. And that's exactly what happened on the night of Lily's birthday. She had turned 8 that day. Thomas promised her a special dinner, just the two of them. He reserved a table at the restaurant, choosing her favorite seat near the chandelier. She even brought a drawing to show him, one she had made of their family with the words, "Love is forever." But as they approached the reserved table, a sharply dressed couple was already there. The man in a white tux leaned back with confidence, while the woman in red seemed to command the entire room. Thomas gently mentioned that the table had been reserved for him and his daughter. The woman turned to them, eyes narrowed. "Can't you sit somewhere else?" she said dismissively. "This is not the place for whatever this is." Lily looked up at her dad, confused and hurt. She didn't understand why someone would be so unkind. Thomas looked at the woman, then at the maitre d', who seemed unsure of what to do. That's when he stepped forward, gently took the "reserved" sign from the table, and said in a calm, steady voice, "Actually, I reserved this table. I own this place." You could have heard a pin drop. The woman's face flushed with embarrassment. The man beside her leaned forward, suddenly quiet. The staff stood still, watching. Then Thomas turned to his daughter, smiled, and pulled out her chair. "Happy birthday, sweetheart." What happened next was something no one in that dining room would forget. The other patrons, many of whom had silently witnessed the interaction, began clapping. One older gentleman even stood up and raised his glass. "To the gentleman who taught us all a lesson in grace." Thomas didn't smile smugly. He simply nodded in gratitude and sat down with Lily, who beamed from ear to ear. For the rest of the evening, they talked, laughed, and enjoyed her favorite meal, grilled salmon with mashed potatoes. But the story didn't end there. After dinner, Thomas walked over to the couple who had tried to take his table. The woman avoided his eyes, clearly embarrassed. "I hope you enjoyed your evening," he said kindly. "Next time, let the host help you find a table. And treat everyone with a little more kindness." You never know who they are, or what they're carrying. She nodded slowly, her pride softened by his gentle tone. Later that night, one of the servers came up to Thomas. You didn't have to do that, she said. Most people would have kicked them out. Thomas smiled. Maybe. But then they'd only remember the humiliation, not the kindness. That night, Thomas didn't just stand up for himself and his daughter. He showed an entire room what quiet strength and kindness look like. He could have embarrassed them. He could have pulled rank. But he didn't. Because kindness isn't about being soft. It's about being strong enough to stay gentle, even when you're disrespected. In a world where people are quick to judge, to assume, or to speak without thinking, what if we all paused for just a second, and chose kindness instead? You never know who's sitting across the table from you. And you never know how a simple act of grace can ripple into something much bigger. If this story moved you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who believes in the power of kindness. And let us know in the comments, what's one act of kindness that left a lasting impact on you? Thanks for watching Kindness Lights, where real stories shine brighter than hate. Until next time, keep your heart open, and your kindness louder.